Hey there, everybody. This is David with Second Main Phase, and we are doing a Battle for Zendikar pre-release Swiss draft. And honestly, this is my first time actually looking at the set. I had some things going on, work-related stuff, so I didn't really get to look at the set until this week, and this is my first time drafting it. So let's see what we've got. We've got Aligned Hadron Network as our rare. So when Aligned Hadron Network enters the battlefield, exile all creatures with power 5 or greater until it leaves the battlefield. I don't know if this is the kind of card that I want to be taking. It's removal, but the fact that it's symmetric removal makes it a little bit awkward. So if I were to take this card, I think it would sort of hem me into an aggressive strategy, which I'm not entirely certain is viable in the format. I actually don't really know what is viable in the format. Core Blade Whirl seems okay. Giving all your creatures first strike is pretty good. But there's also Kozilek's Channeler in here, which I think is a pretty decent card. So yeah, I actually don't know what the pick is. I'm going to take the Channeler here and just stay open. Well, I know Stasis Snare is pretty good. Unconditional removal like this is always decent in limited formats. Aside from that, I don't know. There's not really that much that looks great to me. The spawning bed could be interesting with the channeler. We can get some ramp going and then convert this into some scions. We might build a scion sort of based deck. This is interesting. I don't think that's really where I want to be. Plummet doesn't seem very good. And I got 2 spell lands here, which may be decent. I don't really know the format well enough to really say whether those are good. The Beastmaster here, yeah, it looks okay. It looks sort of like a build around card, again in the allies thing, but I think pretty clearly the Stasis Snare is the best card in this pack, and it's what I'm going to take. Yeah, I think for this draft, I'm going to be pretty conservative with my picks as far as what I'm taking. Like from this pack, there's some interesting cards here, but I think probably the best card is Unnatural Aggression. Just these fight effects have always been good to me in limited formats, and instant speed fight effects are even better. You can really blow somebody out, in combat with a card like this. So I think it's what I'm going to take. The Silent Skimmer is interesting, though I don't think it's really the kind of card that I like to play with. It's a very slow card. But yeah, I think what I'm just going to do here is take the removal spell and then try to figure out what my color combination is. Drana's Emissary looks pretty good, and I already have a white card, so it's something to consider, but I think I'm just going to take this removal spell and sort of stay open. All right. Royal's Retribution. So cards like Royal's Retribution I think are pretty decent. It's removal again, and we've now got this would be our 3rd removal spell, but I think that's okay. But there's also a Sheer Drop, which is also sort of excellent removal. So I think probably I'm going to pick one of the 2 white cards, and I'm trying to decide which one is better. Having Awaken is a big deal, as it allows you in the late game to convert your low mana spells into threats plus spells. Like you get a 2-for-1 essentially. There's also this guy, Void Attendant. What does he do? Okay. Yeah, so this is one of those processors where you're relying pretty heavily on your ingest cards. I think I'm going to take the Sheer Drop. It's a little bit cheaper than Royal's Retribution, and I like the Awaken, though it is possible that Retribution is just better. I just don't know the format that well. Okay. Yeah, so from here, Fertile Thicket lets you dig for basic lands. Doesn't seem terrible. As a turn 1 play, this is actually pretty good. There's also this guy. He's got Menace and Landfall, where he gets +2/+2. That's not terrible either. Menace on a decent sized creature is fine, and with Landfall, if you get some of the Evolving Wilds and stuff, that can be pretty good. There's also Giant Mantis doesn't seem like a great card, but again, I don't really know the set too well. There's this guy, which is a 2/2 for 2 and has Landfall. I think I'm just going to take this. It's in green. which looks like that might be one of our colors. All right, here there's another landfall creature, which is also fine. You know, a 4/4 for 5 that gets bonuses is fine. Touch of the Void is a burn spell. It seems fine. I think this guy's supposed to be pretty good, right? Yeah, this is one of the reasons that I would play like an ally strategy, and I think maybe I'll take it here. Like, sure, we have 2 green cards right now, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything that's like really screamed powerful to me yet, and this card is very powerful. Like, if you get into the ally strategy and you start slamming, allies, like it's pretty good. So I'm gonna take it. All right. Now what do we got here? There's the 4/3 for 4, which I think is actually decent. I might take it here over like Mortuary Mire, or maybe like the Processor. Tightening Coils is fine. The card's fine. What does Processor Assault do? Put a card from exile. Okay. Yeah, so like unless we have like a lot of the effects like this, I don't know if this card is playable. Like if you don't have a lot of ingest. I think I'm just gonna take the 4/3 here. Just something safe. I think we may end up with sort of like a white-green, sort of very safe deck coming out of here. Nettle Drone. That seems sweet. Pingers. Oh, it's only to opponent. Oh, sorry. Never mind. I thought for a second that this was a creature or player, but yeah, I guess that would be way more powerful than a common. What does this guy do? So another ally centered card. 6 mana 5/5. I don't know. It seems okay, but like with the Eldrazi running around, it may not be very good. Could also just take the spell land. Yeah, I'll just take the spell land. All right. This was, I think, the pack we opened. So here's like a red ally that seems okay, but like with a pretty big downside. A black ally. I think we want to stay away from black. We haven't seen like that many good black cards, I think. I think what I want is deals damage to target creature with number lands. I think what I want is the Reckless cohort here, and maybe try to move into like an ally strategy. Yeah, and I think along that line, I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this the Beastmaster now. So maybe we end up in like 3-color Naya, like a 3-color Naya ally deck. I'll take this card. I don't know if it's good or not. Like ramp strategies are fine. This like at least allows us to make a splash if we want to. Deals 3 damage. Well, that seems like pretty overcosted ability. The Attendant at least allows us to, maybe take advantage of some of the processor things. So I'm gonna take it. All right, this seems like a okay combat trick. Probably won't make the main. All right, and this seems like trash. All right, so I don't know how a pack 1 went. Really don't know how to evaluate the commons and uncommons here. We definitely have some great removal options in white and green, and maybe red will open up in these next couple packs, and we'll see some things that we can do there. We could also like change up our strategy with the good removal that we have and like some of the ramp elements that we have. We could go for like a go big Eldrazi plan. And this guy looks pretty decent, right? Yeah, you get to play him and then put another big creature on top of that, and then like it makes your creatures cheaper. I feel like that's like a pretty resilient threat that's gonna like help you just close games very quickly. So I'm gonna take it here. It's gonna move us more into like the ramping Eldrazi decks. So we're gonna be looking towards doing that with our mana. All right, what does this guy do? So it gets 3 Scions is pretty decent at 6 mana. You know, if we can ramp in the early game and just start slamming some of these bigger Eldrazi, I think that's like a great place to be. A 5 mana flying 3/3 vigilance is like fine, but I think this card is actually pretty good. You know, you put 4 bodies onto the battlefield for 6 mana, and you can convert those into more mana later. Yeah, I think that's going to be my pick here. Seems sweet. So we're looking for some more like early ramp to make this work. 7/6 trample hexproof also seems kind of awesome. I don't know if we're gonna make that work. The druid seems okay. Gives us a way to splash. Gives us ramp. Swell of Growth also seems fine. It's like a ramp and combat trick. That actually might be like a card that I should think more about. I know that this guy's pretty decent, right? Yeah. Yeah. This guy's actually really sweet, but really far from what we're trying to do in our colors. It's also the Grove Rumbler. Yeah, Grove Rumbler seems pretty good with the landfall. So yeah, so I think that the picks are between Rumbler, Druid, and Swell of Growth, and maybe like this thing, but I think this thing might wheel. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Druid now so that I can feel more comfortable splashing either, red or white, and then maybe pick up the Rumbler on the wheel. All right. Seeing a lot of 2+1/+1, yeah. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of things here. What does this do? Whenever you cast a colorless spell, it deals damage. That seems a little bit too slow. Yeah, so you've got sort of like two things pulling at us. We've got like the allies thing going on, which doesn't look like it's what we're going to be doing. And then we have these like sweet big Eldrazi plays, which I think is where I'd rather go. So like while Fire Mantle Mage looks pretty good, like giving all your guys Menace is pretty sweet. I think maybe I'll take like a Blister Pod here. Just like, getting a chump blocker in the early game that converts into mana ramp later on seems kind of sweet. It is a very low impact card, so it's possible that I'm overvaluing its ability. What is this one? Give something flying. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Blister Pod here. We'll see how well it plays. Another Unnatural Aggression seems fine. Like if we're moving more into green and further away from white, then having another removal spell like this seems exactly where we want to be. We want to be a little bit careful that we get enough creatures and stuff. I think Scour from Existence is like a fair bit worse than Unnatural Aggression, but maybe an option for a deck like this. All right, so there's another Blister Pod. Defiant Bloodlord I don't think is at all what we want to be doing. Bone Splinters is super sweet. Maybe we can be like black-green Bone Splinters type deck with our Blister Pods. That would be really sweet, actually. If you get a bunch of the Scions and stuff, or sorry, the Scion tokens, like Bone Splinters is really, really good. So maybe passing those black cards is coming back to bite us a little bit. I think at this point it's pretty clear we're not doing the allies thing. Could just take another 4/3. We're gonna take the Bone Splinters here on the off chance that we can build a sweet Bone Splinters type deck. Yeah, something like this. This seems really good. Converting Scion tokens into cards seems really sweet. Grave Birthing. Put a 1/1. That doesn't seem that good. Seems okay. Yeah, I think I kind of like this Vampiric Rites thing. I mean, like it takes 2 activations to get anything out of it, so maybe I'm overvaluing it. Maybe I'd just rather have this 2/2 that has upside. Yeah, I'll take the 2/2 with upside. The Rites look sweet, but I don't know if we can really make that work. What does this guy do? All right, another rally, and this actually does look like a sweet rally card, but I think we've now moved far enough away from that. However, I don't think there's really much else for us except for maybe like the Shatterskull Recruit. Seems okay. Just like seems like a solid threat. What does this guy do? This guy also seems fine if I decide to move into like the black-green Scions. Yeah, let's take it. What does this guy do? Meh. Doesn't really seem what I want. I think I'll take the cheap ingest creature here. I think like our red is very unimpressive, and I think we can make the black-green strategy actually work pretty well. This one seems okay. 3/2 with ingest and like a decent enter the battlefield effect. Yeah. And we've got a lot of like colorless creatures already. All right, the Swell of Growth wheeled, but so did this like giant trample hexproof monster. I don't know which one is like actually better. The Plated Crusher is something for our Conduit of Ruin to search up, right? Oh no, it's colorless creature cards only. Okay, I'm gonna take the Swell of Growth then. Yeah, seems like an okay like little trick. From these, I'm just gonna cut the Nursery. I don't think that we're gonna be playing red. All right, no, I'll cut this Goblin Warpaint. Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll take this one just in case we need the enchantment removal or something. But yeah, I like the track that we're on now. This black green Eldrazi deck looks to be where the format like is going to reward me for the cards that I'm taking. Ruinous Path is sweet and is definitely the pick here. I have no problem taking that card. We're gonna have to make a lot of cuts, so we should try to like pay a little bit of attention to what's happening with us for as far as which cards we're taking, what we're lacking. So at the moment we have some sweet removal, we have some curve toppers. We don't have a ton of ramp, so I'd be looking for more of those effects. Like what does this do? It gives us 2 Scions for 3 mana. Seems a little bit weak. I think like the Rising Miasma is pretty good against us if we go like heavy on the Scions, but also like might be good in our deck for dealing with aggressive strategies. It's actually a pretty tough call here. Like I think the cards that I'm looking at are these 2 cards for my well, there's this card's 7 mana. All right, so this is like a Cone of Flame, but it's a lot more expensive than Cone of Flame. Yeah, I'm gonna take the board wipe and just think about it whether it's gonna go in the deck or not. This guy looks sweet with Scion tokens. Not that we have like a huge number of them at the moment, but he is also like fine with like Blister Pod and things like that. I'm gonna take him here because I don't think that there's anything else in this pack really for us. Like we could take another Swell of Growth, but don't think that's like that great. There's a Smite of the Monstrous here, but it looks like we're already pretty much out of white. So I'm gonna take the Cutthroat here, but I don't know if it'll make the cut, so to speak. We don't look to be like a converged deck. Shambler seems all right with Scion tokens, but again, we don't have a huge number of Scion tokens at this point. But I think it's probably the best card. Like Familiar, like we don't have a lot of ways of gaining life. The Converge card just doesn't work for us, and I don't think Voracious Null is where we really want to be. So I'm gonna take the Shambler here. Keeping my eye out for some curve toppers, something that we can go really deep on. I haven't really seen it yet. This card looks sweet. Like, I don't think I would ever cast it for the casting cost, but like its Awaken cost seems actually really decent. Like if your opponent just has 2 cards and you blank their hand and get a 3/3 for 6 mana, seems not terrible. Altar's Reap also could be interesting with our deck, just like a card advantage thing. I'm gonna take the Malice here. I think it could be a really sweet sideboard option, even if it's not main deckable. We'll see if it's a great main deck. What does Mindbreaker do? Okay, yeah, it seems like a decent payoff card. I think I really want the Bone Splinters here. Like Bone Splinters is just like a sweet card. I'm just gonna take it. Yeah, so we've got a lot of cuts to make in the deck. Again, I apologize, I don't really know the set super well, so we're going to be, figuring things out as we go. Yeah, there's this card which like just doesn't seem to do much. More removal. We're probably a little bit creature light at this point, but I think this card is good. I mean, 3 mana. I guess this is like a lot worse than the 2 mana kill spell. Um, yeah, I'm going to take this processor here just because we do have the Conduit of Ruin and we don't have anything to search up with it yet. Sylvan Scrying is sweet. Probably the pick here. Yeah, take the Sylvan Scrying. And here, what does Watcher do? Yeah, Watcher seems pretty good. Get 3 1/1s for 4. Yeah, actually, this seems like actually really good. And then the two 1/1s for 3 seems a lot worse, but I think I'm gonna take it anyway because I think like none of those other cards are really what we're interested in. And I'll take the landfall guy. I'll take the Voracious Null here, but I doubt we're gonna play it. We'll take a look at the cards and make some cuts here. Oh, we already have one, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how the deck turned out, honestly. Just not having a good read on the format. But yeah, I think we can make this work. I think there's enough decent cards in here and enough decent removal that we can make something out of this. Was Mortuary Mire puts creatures on top, right? So this is also like a decent little spell land that we picked up. At the moment, I'm not impressed by this guy. Grave Birthing. This is the cantrip. All right, I'll put one in for now, and we'll make the cuts later. All right. So I like our 1-mana spells. I think both Bone Splinters and the Blister Pod, like the Blister Pod is great with Bone Splinters, but I think just in general, Bone Splinters is just going to be really good in this format. We've got some cheap ingesters. The Cutthroat is something that I want to consider cutting. I don't know if it's like going to be really good in the deck or not. Sylvan Scrying looks like it'll be fine for us. Swell of Growth seems like it's going to be fine. I think the 2/2 landfall creature is actually pretty good, so it's going to stay in. The Shambler is really good with Scion tokens, so I think since that's where we really want to be going, I'm going to keep that in. And the Invoker also seems fine as like a late game mana sink, but I could see cutting one of these cards, maybe even the Swell of Growth or the Sylvan Scrying. So I think our low end of our curve looks pretty good. So let's try to make a lot of cuts in this section, like. So this is a big payoff. The Void Attendant is a big payoff with our few ingest creatures and gives us the Scion tokens that we're looking for. Also, a 2/3 for 3 is just fine. So I think I want to keep that in. Both of the unnatural aggressions are going to be pretty good. The natural connection might be something that we don't really need since it doesn't look like we're going to splash any of our cards at this point. Call the Scions is on the chopping block. But it is a sweet little Scion, tokens thing that we can be doing. Ruinous Path is sweet. I think the Voracious Nulls are both like okay, but not like super impressive. Like, yes, we can convert Scions into 2+1/+1 counters, which is kind of sweet. But also, it's like a 3-mana 2/2 that just doesn't do anything, and we have to activate him at sorcery speed, which is pretty limiting, I would say. We got Dominator Drone, which is another ingest creature. I think having like at least the 2 ingest guys sitting around is kind of nice. And then we have this cantrip, and I'm not sure about the cantrip. I think we'll have to see how that pans out. The Watcher seems sweet. I don't know about the Miasma. I don't know about the Myers Malice, but I think Myers Malice could actually be quite good in this deck if we get some ramp going and we're able to awaken this. At any point when the opponent has 2 or more cards, this looks like a pretty insane play at 6. So I kind of want to keep it in. These Brood Hunter worms may have to make the cut just to help us like bridge from the mid to the late game, but they don't look great. The Bailoff looks fine though. A 5-mana 4/4 that randomly becomes a 6/6 every few turns actually seems pretty good. And the Channeler looks amazing. just like tap out on 5 and then like be able to, play some big plays. I think all of our 6 drops are good. Conduit of Ruin at least finds this processor. And like, yeah, it only finds the processor, but like if we're casting Conduit of Ruin, putting this processor on top seems fine. Like it's going to stabilize us, right? If we have any ingest going on at any point in the game, Conduit of Ruin can come in, and then we can just slam the processor the next turn, and now we have like a 5/5 and a 7/8, and we've just gained 5 life. So I think that's a pretty easy pick. And the Brood Monitor also seems sweet as far as our Scion strategy goes. So let's look at like what the big payoff cards we have right now for having all these Scions. So I think the 2 Bone Splinters are the biggest payoffs. And then we had what else do we have? Like the Rot Shambler was like kind of a payoff. And then just like ramping out one of our big spells. So let me just move all of these to the board real quick, just so I can get a handle on what we're working with. Okay, so at the moment this is 23, and I think this is a format where you want to play 18 lands. I'm not like 100% sure. I could also see like playing 17 lands, but also playing the like something like Call of the Scions or just like other ramp spells. Maybe actually, you know what? Like Lifespring Druid seems okay, but I think maybe Call of the Scions is a little bit better in our deck. And maybe like Grave Birthing is worth trying. As like we don't get like a huge benefit from exiling their card aside from like the processor, right? And we just have the one processor. Oh, I guess we do have the Void Attendant, right? So maybe the Grave Birthing is worth it just for like, those plays where we can make that happen. So at the moment, I think our deck seems okay. We don't have quite enough on the top end that I feel very comfortable, but I think we have enough going on, ways to flood the board to like, push through a bunch of damage. I might want to play just like the 6 mana 5/5 as just like a threat. Or maybe one of like the 4/3s as a threat. Like I didn't see too many things that had 3 power, but maybe there's enough. Or maybe like I play the Cutthroat as like, yeah, I think including the Cutthroat makes sense. We'll play the Cutthroat as just like a way to like randomly win the game. You can just like drain your opponent out with all your Eldrazi Scions. And I think then I can cut like the Call of the Scions. Like it's just like 3 mana, put 2 1/1s into play. Just doesn't seem great. And like sure, we could ramp out something bigger, but I don't think that we have enough on the top end to justify playing a card like this. Okay, so I think this is what we're going to try to run with. Let's add. They say 9/7. I think we can go 8. Oh no, okay, 9/7 actually seems fine because we have the Mortuary Mire, which adds another black source. And we've got some double green, and we've got 1 double black spell, but like that's not something we need to cast in the early game. So yeah, I think this actually looks pretty decent, and I'm excited to try the format out and see how it goes. So I'll see you guys in round 1.